Hi guys, this is the advisor and welcome back to my channel. Now today I'm going to give you a history of death squads in Jamaica. I'm going to tell you why death squads have failed in Jamaica. But before I say that, I just need you to understand that for me, I'm going to say it straight up. Death squads are a necessary evil. And when I say evil, I don't mean it in a bad way. I just refer to it as necessary evil loosely. It's just necessary. And I think it's a necessary good. But before I explain why they are necessary and why they have failed, let us look into the history of death squads in Jamaica, because there have been many. The first known death squad in Jamaica was formed back in the 1960s, and it was headed by a Sergeant Joe Williams. Who can remember Commissioner Joe Williams? Same one. Back in the 60s, the squad was formed under the JLP, and it was formed with the intention to go after mostly the Spranglers and the Skull Gang in central Kingston, and to other people in areas of Western Kingston which had a high crime rate, and also Warwicker Hills. Now, when the PNP came to power in 1972, of course, that squad was disbanded. And they didn't bring a replacement same time, but they brought one in 1976, known as the Echo Squad. Now, there were other so-called death squads along the line, but one didn't come proper into the system until 1976, when the Echo Squad was formed. Now, the Echo Squad was aimed at going mostly after people in the Tivoli Gardens area, Rima area, and all other sections of JLP communities, mostly. So the Echo Squad was really aimed primarily at opponents of the People's National Party. The Echo Squad did a lot of damage to gunmen across the board, but for the most part they were ineffective. The Echo Squad was disbanded after the 1980 general election, and some of the people from Echo Squad moved over into a new organization called the Operations Branch. Now, a lot of people out there might not have ever heard of the Operations Branch, but it's the same organization or group that was known as the Eradication Squad. Now, everybody, even if you're born after that, I'm born 10, 20 years ago, you might have heard of the Eradication Squad, them same one. The official title was Operations Branch. Now, initially, Joe Williams, now a gazetted rank officer, was put back in charge of Operations Branch. He only remained there for a short while until he became Commissioner of Police. Now, the Operations Branch, or we could call it Eradication Squad, because that name suited it much better. Because they didn't target any particular group. They just target gunmen on the whole. They could kill with impunity. They did take out quite a number of gunmen, yes, but they did take out a lot of innocent people, because they were just told, just go out and just clean up. And they were cleaning up. The idea was that they would clean up all the people who had been firing guns leading up to the 1980 elections. And they were really over enthusiasts, because they just got anywhere and could take any life, and nothing came out of it, because to this blessed day, not one single person who among the members of the Eradication Squad who murdered, and quite a number of innocent people also, were ever charged. In other words, in those days, if a policeman like off your girl and feel say him didn't want to have that girl, him could have just murder you and nothing come of it. If him see you get a visa and going to foreign and him bad mind you and feel that you shouldn't board that plane to go better yourself, him could just murder you. And nothing came of it. No way, no how. Not one single member of the eradication squad has ever been charged for any murder out of the 700 plus murders that they committed in those during the days that this group was effective. Now, after the disbanding of the eradication squad, a new squad was formed called the Area 4 Task Force. Now, Area 4 is the area is a police area within the administrative department of the Jamaica Constabulary. Area 4 concerned St. Andrew Central, St. Andrew South, Kingston Western, Kingston Central, and Kingston Eastern. So those were the Area 4 Task Force responsibility, everything within that area. And the thing with this now, it was from about 86. If not 86, it's 87. And this was under JLP administration. It simply went out and did what it was supposed to do, and it dirtied Krasmite across the board. And that was one of the best task force that ever came into being, because it did what it was supposed to do, and between in those years, crime actually fell. In 1999, this was the Special Anti-Crime Task Force, SACTF, and this was formed under a PNP administration. Now, it was, I think at that time, it was Dr. Peter Phillips, who was the Minister of National Security. And when he formed that, it's because crime had already has started to get really out of control. Part of the reason for forming SACTF was not just to go after criminals, but it was also a PR stunt to appear in the public's eyes to be doing something about crime. The SACTF did make a number of raids and did dirt a number of bad guys, but it's like it wasn't doing what it was supposed to do. And therefore, about 18 months later, in 2001, a different organization was formed called the Crime Management Unit, CMU. The purpose of CMU was twofold. One, it was a good PR stunt, one. And two, one of the main aim of the CMU was to go after JLP wrongdoers. They would get list of names handed down from the top of the administration of JLP supporters who were Krasmites, of course, and Renato Adams, probably the biggest political police in Jamaica's history, apart from Joe Williams. And he was sent and given his list of who to take out, and he would take them out with impunity. Mind you though, he had also a list of PNP gunmen that he should not touch. And of course, in those days, the main focus of crime was in Spanish Town, and a big focus was placed on the One Other gang, even though the Klansman gang was much bigger and headed by the biggest Krasmite in Jamaica at the time, Bulby. And we can remember that Renato Adams was given specific instructions not to ever touch Bulby, and he didn't. But guess what? Babsy Grange also had a list that she sent in to Peter Phillips at the time and said, listen, do not touch these men. And those men in the One Other gang who was aligned to the JLP were never touched either. So while the Crime Management Unit was free to go out and take out whoever they felt like taking out, they had a list of people that they could not touch. Having said that, those were not the only death squads. Because over the years there have been many death squads units which were secret societies within the JCF. They were so secret that they don't even have a name. There are members of the Jamaica Constabulary Force which did not even know they existed. And to some degree, they operated and they did good jobs. However, here is what is wrong now. Why they did not work. And even to this blessed day right now, death squads are available in Jamaica, but they are kind of low-keyed. But here is why death squads do not work in Jamaica. For one thing, you cannot have a death squads that is only geared towards targeting your political opponent, and in which they have special instructions not to touch a certain set of people. And secondly, you cannot have a death squad that have a blanket order to go out and just murder whoever they feel at any time, anywhere, anyhow. In the past 15 years or so, the death squads were more organized, in that their operations were, for the most part, carried out under strict operational instructions from the upper echelons of the Jamaica Constabulary Force. An arbitration panel of at least 5 gazetted rank would meet, examine the files of each person to be targeted, and a decision made on how much of a perceived threat they pose to national security. In other words, every individual who had been targeted by the Clarendon death squad, of which Chucky Brown was a part, was decided on by this tribunal after they had dotted every I and crossed every T. They were totally convinced that these individuals posed a significant threat to public safety. So why did they fail? Well, it was because they had not put in the proper strategic, logistical, and operational components required to protect the men chosen to carry out their dirty work. And when I say dirty work, I just use that term loosely, because as far as I'm concerned, this is one of the cleanest jobs in the force that you can do. Dirt cosmites. For example, there were no prescribed methods, no strict guidelines, no operational structure, and no fail-safe mechanism to extricate or exculpate the men should anything go wrong. It was just ad hoc. Like, here is a list. These are their photos. These are their whereabouts. Find them and dirt them. Do it any way you wanna. Now, that is the easiest way to fuck things up. And nobody was protected, not even the gazetted rank officers. There were no prearranged way to even protect the gazetted rank officers who were giving the orders. Therefore, when the brown stuff hit the fan, it was every man for himself. The gazetted ranked officer started ducking under tables and chairs and hiding behind any French they could find to avoid being contaminated by the brown stuff. It was so bad that they totally abandoned Chucky Brown and his team, who were doing that excellent job there in Clarendon. And the reason that caused this thing to blow up like that is because when all of those gazetted rank officers and other government officials in the National Security Ministry who knew what was going on, when everybody ducked, they just left the policemen to the four winds to be dealt with by Indicom and to have them locked up for years. These men who had done such yeoman service for Queen and country were just thrown to the wolves, Indicom and the court system. And this is the reason why death squads are not being used again, because people, policemen out there are saying, we cannot be protected after we do your dirty work, and Chucky Brown is the person that they all call his name and say, look what you do to Chucky Brown. Me not going to have you do this to me. Me want to go home to my kids at night. I want to stay with my family, and I am not going to let you do the work and then tie me out for eat grass. And therefore, this is the main reason why death squads in Jamaica for the past few years have not been in operation. The only one that seemed to have been kept in operation was one that was operating out of Harman Barracks. Now, let me tell you a bit about that one. On Sunday, April 28th, 2019, a death squad that was stationed at Harman Barracks was hunting down a particular man named Sheldon Daily. Now, Sheldon Daily, he was one of the utmost charismite in Spanish Town that they were looking for. And they trailed him, and they found him, and the clear instructions were given to dirt Sheldon Daily. And that Sunday afternoon, in the 3 bells or 4 bells, Sheldon Daily, they buck up on him in Spanish Town. I think it's on St. John's Road. And when they buck up on him, the police them just come out of the car and just put it on him. Put it on him, leaving him lifeless. But as circumstance would have it, there was an off-duty policeman in the area, in the vicinity, and he saw the incident, and not knowing who is who, he thought the policemen were gunmen. He thought the 3 policemen in the vehicle were gunmen. So after they dirt the charismite named Sheldon Daily, this policeman start put on shot on the policemen and the policemen who were actually assigned to dirt Sheldon Daily. So the policemen, not knowing who the other person was, they seemed to just jump back in the white Nissan AD wagon, and they took off, heading in the easterly direction. Now, while they were going, they leave from St. John's no, and they out on Brunswick Avenue. The off-duty policeman got in his vehicle and gave chase. During the chase, the white AD wagon that the 3 death squad police were traveling in, it crashed into a silver AD wagon on Brunswick Avenue. And a shootout started now between the off-duty police and the 3 policemen in the white AD wagon. Anyway, to how it worked out, one person in the silver AD wagon died, and one of the policemen who was in the white AD wagon, the police vehicle, also died. The other 2 were arrested on the spot. Now, there were some spooky things happening, which let the public realize that this was actually a government-led operation, or a government-sanctioned operation. Inside the white AE wagon, which was confirmed to be a police vehicle, they found 2 sets of registration plates inside the vehicle. A 3rd set of registration plate was attached to the vehicle, front and rear. There was a police logbook with 1 set of plates found inside the car, and the police logbook showed that is one of the plates inside the car that actually was registered to the vehicle officially. There was a detachable police emergency blue light, and significantly, there were 5 firearms found in the vehicle, 3 of which were identified as police service pistols, which were owned by the government and fully assigned. They were not stolen. They were assigned to the 3 policemen. The other 2 weapons were not police weapons. Apparently, one of these might have been to place upon the charismite Sheldon Daily when them dirt him, but because of the interruption by the other off-duty policeman, they were unable to have done that. Now, I'm going to use a word from the Politics Watchman, Sir P. He always says spooky. Some things happen with spooky. Now, may I use the word there. It was found out that the 2 men who were in that incident, the 2 who were still alive, the policemen, we had found that they were officially on suspension from police duties. They were on suspension, and each of them had murder charges going on in court. Yet here they were on an operation together, and doing some things with police vehicle, police weapon, and none, and there were no internal charge. When it went for investigation, these men were not held under any interdiction for any of what took place. Not even the murder that went on that they did of the Christmite, they were charged for. They were detained, and even when they were detained, one of those two policemen, Corporal Kirk Fraser, he was claimed to have escaped, quote unquote, escaped from detention, and nobody couldn't find him. And the other one, he was held, and eventually he got bail, and to this blessed day, the case they just go cold. So what happened in the immediate aftermath of that incident was that you hear them come out, them a lock down Harman Barracks, them a lock down Harman Barracks, them a lock down Harman Barracks. And that's what took place. They locked down Harman Barracks for all operational aspect of policing. So that was a massive shake-up that happened after that death squad incident. Now, I don't want to keep this video too long, so I'm going to stop it here. But in my next video, or in a subsequent video, I'm going to tell you how the police could have carried out operations and did more efficiently and smoothly and get the job done. Because I can say this, death squads can work. They can work. It's just to have a better method of carrying it out. It can't be done in the ad hoc, haphazard, patty shop way that it has been done in Jamaica. It has to be done in a much more sophisticated way. Or I'll tell you in a subsequent video. Thanks for watching. Like, share, leave a comment below, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video.